Welcome to a Telltale Books video. I'm Greg, and I'm continuing my Harlan Ellison series with Students of the Assassin. Students of the Assassin is the 27th story in my Harlan Ellison bibliography, published in October of 1956, and there were, I believe, a total of 6 different stories published in that same month. So it's like throw them all up in the air and then decide which ones fall in what order. So the number 27 designation just says that that's where it landed when I put it into my database. That has nothing to do with whether or not it was really written first or last or middle or whatnot. So, October of 1956, published in a magazine called Hunted. This is one of his street gang stories, and you can find it in his collection titled The Deadly Streets, which I believe was his first of these street gang um, collections that he publishes. A collection of short stories. This particular edition, not currently in print, but was published not so long ago by Subterranean Press. It is a wonderful book using the original illustration from the original paperback and the typography. And it's just a really well made book. I love it. I found it used, had to pay a little bit for it. Not too bad though. Um, it's a limited edition, so you're not going to pick it up for $10 unless you're really, really lucky or it's in really, really bad shape. But excellent, excellent edition of the book. There are others out there, including the original paperback that you can find. And of course, you can get The Deadly Streets as an ebook. I think it's Open Road Media that has all of his books in print as ebooks. They came out with everything when Harlan Ellison died. And they're not expensive either. So, Students of the Assassin, and Students of the Assassin, in this book, it's the very last story. And I think that's appropriate for the way this story reads. In the story, you've got Tony and you've got Pepper. Pepper turns out to be somebody who's a pretty talented at mugging people, has some different ideas from the rest of the other guys that are out mugging people in New York. And so Tony kind of follows him. Well, the two of them pick the wrong guy to mug one night, but he turns out to be a really, really professional um, thief, robber, mugger, assassin. You know, this guy's really badass, and he's been at it for a long time. And his name is legendary. His first name is Toby. I forget what his last name was, but this Toby guy is legendary in New York as the greatest of them all. So when Tony and Pepper accidentally try to mug him and he basically kicks their butts, he says he wants them to come and join him, work for him, and he would teach them. But this guy, he's badass, but he's really badass. I mean, he's doing things that Tony and Pepper are not comfortable with. They agreed to go with him, but when he starts shooting people just because they're there and in the way, the two kids, they kind of don't like that and they kind of extract themselves. And of course, in the end, Toby um, gets shot by police. And his legacy is all the people standing around calling him a monster and kicking his dead body in the face. And that's why I think this is appropriate for the end of this book, because it kind of makes a statement that this life, going out there mugging, doing drugs, beating people up, having all these fights, that this whole thing is empty and going to get you nowhere in the end. So it's a very good story. I wouldn't call it a top tale, but I did enjoy it. And I think if you love Harlan Ellison and you haven't read this story or the rest of the Deadly Streets, you should look it up. They are good stories. I think this one is one of the best of these stories so far. There's one that I liked better. Now I'm forgetting what the title of it was, but there was one of them that I did like better than this one, but this was a very good story. And that's really about all can say about it. Have you read Students of the Assassin? What did you think? Leave your comments about that or about Harlan Ellison. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come on back for more Harlan Ellison. I still have to get to the Silver Quarter. That's coming up. White Trash Don't Exist. That's coming up. Not sure what order they're really in because for some reason, when these are called onto the web page, if they're all in the same month, they show up in a different order each time I go to the page. I got to figure out how to fix that. Anyway, those two stories are still coming up for October 1956 for Harlan Ellison. And I will have that and a lot more other authors coming very soon, and a lot more with Emily, a lot more that I'm reading with um, Samantha. She's got me going through the entire Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. We've read books 1 and 2. We're now going back and reading the prequel book, The Assassin's Blade. It's what I'm in the middle of right now. And that's on the advice of Sarah J. Maas herself. She says that's the best reading order. Read Assassin's Blade third and then go on to book 3 and 4 and so forth. So we're reading the entire 8-book series back to back to back to back to back, etc. So I'm doing that. I'm also about to start the second of the Skylark novels by Edward Elmer Smith, Doc Smith. I've already read and done a video about the Skylark of Space. I'm moving on to book 2, which is called Skylark 3. Go figure. And I'll have a video on that one up very soon. Actually, I think that one goes up before this one. But anyway, come on back for all the different authors that I'm doing. We're getting into some new and different things this year. I think you'll enjoy a lot of what we have coming at you.